Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. So, because our time is quite limited, okay, so next team to present today is the dating app, okay, which provides a web application for speed dating. Okay, so you guys can take control the screen and give your presentation.
All right, so let's dig right into it because we know you're going to love it. We are Connected, the speed dating app. Today, we will cover what Connected is, as well as our business progression, infrastructure and backup, development plans, I'm sorry. So what is Connected and how will it benefit those in the dating market? Well, in order to talk about what Connected is, we put together a quick promo video. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Hey, nice to meet you. We're Connected, the speed dating app. We believe that online dating can be better, which is why we decided to revolutionize the game. The problem with online dating today is that we eliminate a majority of prospects based upon a single profile picture. A real bond requires conversation, which is why we implemented a video chat as the first step into our dating experience. Connected's double matching system ensures that the feeling is mutual before you meet on a date. Once you meet up and your date is going well, then you can share your personal QR code to give them access to your profile. We have it all figured out just for you. So what are you waiting for? It's your turn to get connected. That is a very brief overview of what Connected is. Our team comprises of 6 UT Tyler students, of which I am Kathleen. Our service stands out from our competitors through a unique series of events. As mentioned in our video, Connected's dating experience starts with a video chat. After the video chat is when the users are prompted to choose whether or not to match. If they match, then the messaging feature is unlocked. As both users chat, they can decide whether or not to move forward with their connection, which would require matching once more. This is our unique double matching system. Matching for the second time unlocks the opportunity to create a date. Now both users can go on a date, which brings up the question, what's next? So if it's going well, the date is going well, then it's time to solidify their connection with a distinctive QR code. Once the users have exchanged QR codes, they will finally have access to their date's profile. We believe that most dating sites rely on profiles, and we wanted to stray away from that. I will now be handing this off to Aya, who will be covering the progression that we have made with our business plan.
All right, thank you so much, Kathleen. So hi guys, I'm Aya. I am the second CIS major on our team. And today I'm gonna talk to you about our revenue streams, which comes from our subscription prices here. At Connected, we offer all of our amazing features free for users to have and to try out. However, there are always those who want more. Therefore, we have implemented the following 3 subscriptions. We offer Connected Skips, Connected Boost, and Connected Plus. So we offer each individual feature with a little bit extra. So you're still getting great features and amenities at each price point, which is comfortable for you to afford. Again, substantially, all of our revenue comes from our connected users and their monthly subscriptions and paying for that, monthly subscription fee. And we also, in addition to our direct revenue from users, we generate revenue also from online advertisers who pay us to reach our larger audiences. So, yeah. So a little bit about our key activities here. And one main point I would like to highlight here is our management key activity. So we continue to make a case by researching mixed method relationships because eventually we want you guys to be connected. And as cheesy as it sounds, and you'll hear it multiple times throughout our presentation, that's really our point here. We want users to anticipate that move from the technologically mediated, connection to face-to-face. Thank you. So going over our predicted growth here. As a result of COVID-19, we believe our market to be all adults from North America and other select countries around the world who are not in committed relationships. and that have access to the internet. Connected also offered, or I should say Connected also is fostering relationships to help people who have that critical need, or, to basically influence everyone's happiness. So the dating market currently presents a significant opportunity for Connected to growth and expand. As you can see here, throughout the span of 5 years, we potentially predict to grow immensely over the next 5 years. A little bit about our key resources as well. Obviously, our video functionality chat puts us at a competitive advantage throughout our other existing rivals, such as Bumble, Tinder, Match, etc. And one thing I would like to highlight is our infrastructure is very unique. Again, we offer through certain data points and app infrastructure and user interface and device permissions and other APIs that are offered through Connected app, and with our social data as well, which is allowing us to have common interests from people who are getting connected and matching based off of those connections. And now I will be handing it off to Jose, who will be covering our progress that we have made in our IT infrastructure and backup.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jose. So the progress we've made on our IT backups is, of course, we're still using GitHub and Git. We're using that alongside Google Cloud Compute Engine and Google Firebase. In the next slide, I have a couple, I go into these a little bit more in depth. And the reason we're using all three is because we just like to have multiple sources of backups for our application. Next slide, please. Okay, so starting off with Git and GitHub. We use Git and GitHub to use a centralized repository. That way, whoever codes on the application, they can have access to the code. This works very well for like working individually and also collaborating, because off of GitHub, you can make multiple branches and thus have multiple versions of the app available. So if one version breaks, you have another one ready to go. Google Compute Engine, this is where I back up a lot of our GitHub repositories. So you have GitHub repositories on GitHub, and you also have GitHub repositories on your local machines. We do have each individual machine set up with a GitHub repository, but I just like to back up the master, which is the main branch on GitHub, on the Google Cloud Compute Engine. And that's just the VM on Google's services that we use for our backups. Along with that, I had one left. So along with that, we have Firebase, and this is like the last line of backups we have. So every time we upload to Firebase, Firebase makes an instance of a working app. So if we upload a previous working version and say we push out a new feature and that breaks the application, we can just roll it back to a previously working instance on Firebase. And now our CS major will talk about our development plans.
John, I'm not sure if you are talking or not, but you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Test? Nothing?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry about that. All right. So, yeah, we encountered a couple of challenges with those that I'll cover in the next slide. But right now we have our React components for the front end, which is really helpful for using asynchronous calls to APIs. We're using Firebase for user authentication and validation and all sorts of things. And we're using Firestore to store all of our user data and profile pictures as well. So the reasons that we moved to Firebase instead of creating our own fully custom API, first of all, that authentication isn't a trivial thing to keep track of passwords properly and everything. So we decided that, we were considering it earlier, and it's like, well, why not? We'll just let Firebase handle that for us so that we don't have to spend all this time reinventing the wheel. And then we had some HTTPS issues getting our certificates to work with Nginx. For some reason, it just took a long time to troubleshoot, and eventually we decided to do hosting through Firebase as well. We also noticed that Firebase databases have really low latency, which is good for making a very fast, responsive application. Also, using Firebase for other things makes it really easy to integrate Firebase users into them, because you can just link the data directly without creating a whole system of, well, there's a connected account and there's a Firebase account for it and everything like that. And then lastly, we just figured it was a lot more feasible to just stick with Firebase and let them manage all of the heavy lifting work instead of going and writing like 50,000 lines of code of stuff that could be somewhat done for us. And yeah. Next, I'll be talking about front-end development. So one of the reasons we chose React is because it's really easy to dynamically load components as data comes in from your APIs and everything. So we use that to make sure that our app looked really nice while it was loading stuff, so that it's not like, I remember I used to use Vue, and there would be all the double brackets and variable names all over the place when the page would be loading, and that was a disaster. So we didn't do that. It also allowed us to import components for things we needed, namely the QR code scanner and generator, so that we didn't have to, again, reinvent the wheel there. And it also really helped to organize our code, because every component was in a different file, and every component had its own CSS rules managed by the module.css files that we used with React to keep everything nice and organized. So now I'm going to let Viola go into more detail about the React components that we used.
Hi, my name is Viola, and I am the final IT major. So different components that we ended up using on React and Firebase. As stated previously by John, we ended up using it for authentication, just because it gave our CS majors time to actually work on what needed to be done for the project. And then after that, we used the databases. So the databases allow us to it allows us and our users to be able to save information such as people they've connected with and decided to match with, and then their conversations, so that users can go back and review information they've sent peer-to-peer. Now, whenever we started that, we also are using storage for their pictures. Now, our users on their current profiles, they are only allowed to have 4 pictures as of now. The more that we develop and once official release happens, we plan on allowing them to have more pictures and the chance to send pictures back and forth between other users. Now, the type of cloud, we are using Firestore Cloud for our overall saving aspects of this, I am so sorry, for our app. Now, one of the things that someone had asked me when we were originally doing this was how connections were set up peer-to-peer. Connections are being set up using a WebRTC, and what it does is it allows, it uses our point system, which I will get into in a moment. It uses our point system, and candidates that met our point system, it allows the lead computer to hop between them to find what the best candidate for them is. Now, the point system that is used in place is something that was created by Trevor, which is probably one of my favorite aspects of the code being used right now. The point system gives our users, on the back end of things, it goes through different information that users have supplied us with, and it allows us to pick the best user that matches their needs. For example, we have our users with age. A lot of users want to find someone within the same age range. We have it for zip code. The closer you are, the more points you get, and the farther away you are, the least amount of points you get. And once you're over 150 miles away, you get no points. And this allows us for our users to be able to find people who are closer to them and make dates eventually feasible. Other aspects that are used for this are your interest. For example, if you go on my profile, you will see that I like books, tequila, and music. Someone who has similar interest or matching interest to me would get more points than someone who said they liked whiskey, movies, and running, because I'm fat and I do not run. And so with all this information and these different components, this allows us to give our users a more flawless use of our application. And overall, it gives them a chance to really connect and reflect on the people they are matching with. So with this information, we're going to go ahead and pass it to Trevor. Trevor will be going ahead and doing our demo. And then after that, we'll open it up for questions, okay?
Hello. So let me share the screen real quick. Are y'all able to see this? I'll go with yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can see
So our app, based on our user base, we figured most people would be using it on a mobile phone. And so while we designed it to also work on desktop, I'll be showing it as if it were a mobile device for the demonstration. So for the app, when you first get here, you would sign up. And so I'll create an account here. Let's see. So then you log in, it creates an account, but then the next stage is setting up your account information, which helps with matching and stuff later on. So here we'll fill out our fictitious user. And you can pick a color that will be used later on. You can set your birth date. And here you could set, basically, that idea is your gender and who you're looking for, but in order to keep it open-ended, you can put whatever description you want here. After this, you submit, you are now logged into the account and you have everything set up. So at the core of our app is the video roulette. And so I'll demonstrate that now. So you go here and you'd be waiting for someone else to join the queue. At this point, I believe Viola has joined the queue and it matches using the point system. Since there are only 2 people in the queue, it obviously matches with her. But if more people were in the queue, it would compare everyone else who's also in the queue and select the best match. So at that point, you get in here and then you can start a call, hopefully. Let's see, one moment. Well, it's not here. I'm going to go back here once more. Worst case, I can do this locally. Occasionally, it runs into issues. Viola, if you could go back home and then back again to the queue, or anyone else on the team as well.
How funny. I hopped on here and Viola and I matched.
There we go.
Can I share my screen? Oh, there we go. There's Aya. Never mind.
So there's Aya. At this point, we can talk via this. And then at some point, if we decided to, we could both click the match button. And as long as we both click the match, then we're able to continue our conversation in the chat feature where we can say things. And then I can also respond in theory. There we go. And so then you can continue a conversation here. As you're continuing on through here, we could decide to match again. And matching this final time, as long as we both match, would unlock the QR code feature where we could go on the date as described earlier. And then one of us could scan the other's QR code, and then that would finalize the match process. The other feature of the app that would unlock is the date page. So you'd be able to view the other person's profile page. That is still a feature in the works. The profile page is there, but actually sharing it is still working. So on a profile page, you can see the other user's interests, their basic information, and then on my profile page, I can also upload images. And then after it's uploaded, then once it was shared, then someone else looking at my profile page would also be able to see the image. And so that sums up the functionality of the app, and I'll log back out. And I guess now if anyone has any questions.
I had a question. I think this would be best for you since you're one of the CIS majors. I was wondering how exactly did you come up, because you have 3 different subscription models. I was wondering how exactly you came up with the price points for all 3 of those.
Yeah, and thank you, Kaden. That's a great question. So we looked at our competitors, obviously the existing really popular ones such as Bumble, Tinder, Match, etc. And we wanted to come in at a competitive price point advantage. And by competitive, I mean really cheaper than them, because we want our users to actually want to pay to try it out, as opposed to paying, let's say, $12.99 or $15.99 and be like, you know what, I wasted 15 bucks for nothing. So we wanted to offer them that very competitive advantage with our price point.
Awesome, thank you.
I guess going from there, I'll ask Kathleen. So why your app instead of the other existing ones on the market? What makes yours different, really?
It's a great question. So with our competitors, it is mostly based off of profiles. So this leads to being prejudiced and just judging people based off of a profile picture or based off of whether they like that they have a dog or not. Does not make very much sense. So so what we wanted to do is we wanted to stray away from that, which is why we created the QR code. And once you scan the QR code, then you can see each other's profiles. We wanted to focus mainly on the aspect of conversation to build these relationships and build the connections. And, you know, with Tinder, I mean, you're just profile swiping the entire time. With Bumble, usually it's women that approach the men. But in this case, we wanted to make it more organic, right? So in the real world, whenever you meet someone and you are attracted to them, you will go up to them. But in this case, it's a little different. We're in this cyber world. So we implemented the video chat where you just talk to someone random. And I think that aspect is what makes it unique.
Yeah, that explains a lot. Thank you.
I had a quick question for the, I guess the CS members. How did you guys go about implementing the live stream video face-to-face feature?
So that's all WebRTC. And so it's a pre-built thing that made it it still was a little bit tricky. So it's a peer-to-peer connection. And so all we had to do essentially is allow that connection to be set up. And so that's through Firebase, and it's once the user, so first users in the queue are matched together, and then one user is the initiator. You saw I had the start call button. Initially, the other person does not have that button, just for how it was set up. And once you hit start call, then it sends an offer to the other user through Firebase to a point that they're listening to. And then when they receive an offer, they send an answer, and then they exchange candidates back and forth, which have various, it's your IP address, it's some information about the hardware of your computer, just basic stuff that you need to actually set up a live stream. And then after that, it's all the WebRTC stuff, and I don't know how it works, but it's a pre-built thing that is very handy.
Yeah, I thought it looked very cool. Does it work the same like on a phone as it does on like the browser? Okay.
Yep. It has, the only difference is the video itself that shows up has different dimensions.
Okay.
So it looks a little bit different.
Thank you.
I have a
I
question.
was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dizzy.
Okay, I have a question for IT. So I noticed y'all are using Firebase. How are you planning on using that like for future like infrastructure as it grows and gets better, and like how are you planning to see that in the future?
Okay. I think I can answer this question for you guys. Firebase right now, as it stands, we're using the free version. But moving on, we would love to get the Blaze plan as long as our customer base grows. The Blaze plan would kind of help us a little bit more with backups. Right now, the databases we have, we're backing them up manually. But Firebase has this instance in the Blaze plan that allows us to back up live. So you have your regular databases, but you have live databases also that you can use to implement and back up that way also.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask the same question as Charles did about the video, the cameras, but mine was on the QR codes. Like, how are y'all able to? What did y'all use for that?
All right, I can cover that. So what I did to implement the QR system was, well, first of all, the way that the actual QR codes work is that they generate some text based on the user ID, so that the other user can see what ID it wants, like what ID you want to full match with. And so the way we did that is there were React components that were created specifically for generating QR codes, just using like an HTML canvas, I think. And then the scanner was a really genius one because it had, it was just a React component that you can import and change a few settings on to make it work perfect for our app. And, you can even have it switch cameras and everything. And it has an interval. Every second it checks whether there's a QR code there. And if there is, then it immediately sends a match request to that. And if it works, then, you're matched with the user in less than 3 seconds. So.
Okay, thank you.
You go ahead. Okay. I guess I had a question for the CS team. I just pretty much wanted to understand how the I guess the not matching, but like if a user is on your app, how did you go about searching for other users that are on the app? Is it like location wise? Is it do you search through your database, or how does that work?
So when you join the queue, then, well, actually, Viola, I explained this one a little bit to you. Do you have enough grasp on it that you'd like to explain it?
Yeah, I can definitely answer it if you want me to.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
As was stated both in our presentation and Trevor touched on it a little bit, whenever the thing that we use is the WebRTC. And originally, once someone initiates a like roulette connection, the system goes through and it uses our point system to find people who are close enough in points to our user, which our point system, as stated, it goes through first closest in age, closest to you physically, the matching interest and other things of that nature. So it uses the points with the max amount of points, and then it goes through our different candidates. And then we have a group of candidates, kind of multiple, and the system will go through the WebRTC and it'll bounce between those candidates based off your hardware and other information to see who's the best fit to talk to you right then and there. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. So I'm guessing both users would have to be online at the same time.
Yes, exactly. You can't match with someone for the roulette part unless you are both actively hit. I want to chat with someone, because our roulette session only lasts 3 minutes because it's a fast, you meet, you talk. Okay, I want to chat with you to learn more.
Okay.
Cool. And I think we're getting a little bit over our time, so I think that's going to be it for our questions. But I just wanted to give props to everybody who did a presentation over the last and the last one coming up, because some of y'all had to learn a couple technologies that you didn't learn before. And to make it this far is an exceptional, accomplishment. So congrats to everybody.
Yay.